Hello and welcome to another beautiful morning. I have my morning chocolate this time. I don't have tea. I cannot wait to drink it. I feel a bit sickly, just as if I have a cold yet again. I watched a movie last night. Cruella was better than downsizing. Definitely better than downsizing. And it was nice. I was actually enjoying the whole drama of the thing, and it had great characters and a great subject matter. Like people say that the movie was about like fashion. No, it had nothing to do with fashion. Like it had super low. It wasn't about people were not really discussing that much of a fashion. Fashion was just a pretense to talk about being evil and being good and twists and turns about very nice good movie. And I was kind of like what how can I say this, I was expecting the story at the end. Like the big twist was not a twist for me. Like it was foreshadowed so many times that, and I know they do this sometimes in movies, they do this just so you feel smart about when the plot twist is there, but I didn't get surprised. I wish I did. I like it more when I don't see a plot twist. So, yeah. But and also, come on, I'm dissecting something I like. I shouldn't do that because it ruins the experience. I like the movie. That's all. So be careful when dissecting something you like. Like even the hobby that you have, if you start making it a business, it's very difficult to like it as much, especially in the beginning. Like you have to put in a lot of time, and the joy and happiness comes from other things rather than when it used to come just from doing your craft. I feel like that's the point. It's very difficult. I like a lot of people nowadays have said like, "Oh, make money out of your hobbies," and I'm like, maybe not everyone should do that because I've done that with every hobby I had, starting from age 16 when I started to do skate lessons and then selling like arts and crafts. Then I learned how to do arts and crafts, like jewelry, handmade jewelry and stuff. So I had something to sell. And I did, and I started selling them. And then I also even I had a hobby where I was playing with yo-yos, those kinds where you can make tricks and things. And I remember then there weren't any shops that you could buy here, those kinds of things. Now there are like four or five, including online and offline in the city. But I had to buy myself a yo. I for the first one I received for free, and I got addicted to it. And then I ordered four more. I ordered a nice one and the cheapest one I could get, ones I could get, and I sold all of the other three that were sealed, and I was selling them for double the price. And so basically I got the expensive one for free just because I sold the other three. So yeah, and then I found some some wooden ones that I got for, I don't know, super cheap in a shop someday, and I was like, I guess I could sell those for 10 lei. Well, you don't, for $2. And I did. So I was doing that, and then I started to make things, which is way more profitable, even though in the long term it's way more profitable to buy things and sell them. If you can manage to do that at scale. I hate it when I use sentences that Gary Vee uses. I don't like that guy. He's a sleazy guy. And when you do it at scale, at when you do it with many things, you get a lot more money that way. If you can figure out how to sell other people's stuff, you will be in demand. Like it's one of the hardest things to do. It's easier to sell your own things, but it's very difficult to sell other people's things because you don't have the, well, depends on what you're selling, but let's say you're selling other people's paintings. It's very difficult to do that. Like, yeah, sure, you can open a gallery, but it's difficult. You have to know exactly how to talk to people. You have to know to have the right spot. You have to pay the rent. You have to do a lot of things in order to, and you have to spend the time in the gallery. So, yeah. Most of the people that I know that sell that way, ranging from not only paintings but all kinds of things. They do have a physical location, but I think that physical location, most people want to start up. There are so many, I don't know why, but people here just start businesses overnight and then they fail. And I have a joke with a friend like, oh, that's going to last like 6 months. That's going to last a year. That's going to last 6 months. And I'm usually right because it makes no sense. Like the things that they are opening make really no sense. Like, and some of the and so and usually the things that don't make sense, they've been there for a long time, and they've been there for a long time just because the person has figured out how to make that thing work. But the point is that they have something, a strategy, like the gallerist who sold my horse's painting. He is different than most of the gallerists that are in the city, because he's actually profitable. And not only that, but he doesn't really sell garbage. He sometimes sells garbage, like if he got it, it's like, come on, got it for a good price, he's gonna sell that. But he doesn't treat it as high art. Like he understands, like he really understands art and how to sell it actually. The guy I've learned to sell art from uh, learned how to sell art from him. So yeah, he cultivates very good relationships with clients, and he sends them flowers, he does things for them, whatever. He really uh, perpetuates this. He kind of, I get the feeling that he hates most of his clients, and I used to as well. And I understand why, because you have to like really be super nice to them and cultivate this nice relationship with them, and like you cannot really be honest and real with them because they're and they know that, like, they know they are pampered. I think that everything that has, like, and they start to buy, like, I've done this exact same strategy that he does, and I don't like it. I don't like pampering people, like, because the it's not like you're selling food or clothes or cameras or things that are useful in the true sense. Useful, you can do something with them. It's not like that. Plus, the painting business is not really a reoccurring business. You There is a certain point, a threshold where the buyer cannot really get more from you. It's very difficult for them because they don't have space. Like, I know a lot of people who are avid buyers who have stacks of painting as if it's my house. Like, I have stacks and stacks and stacks of paintings, but I make them. I don't buy them, but they buy them and they get more and more and more. And that at some point they're like, I gotta do something. And yeah, like, I understand. I mean, it's super nice to have a house. It's whenever you have someone over, to have a house full, and I mean full of paintings. It's like, oh my God, like, you have so many paintings. It's like a gallery here. And you're like, it's fun. It's fun. Like, having, like, seeing a wall with like 20 paintings, it's gorgeous. Even if the paintings are not that good or anything, just having multiples of them on one wall, it makes the whole room feel different. It's like, whoa. And definitely you have something to talk about, something to look at, and people are impressed by that. So that's the biggest point over there. It's that repeat. I was actually talking to a friend today. Repeat customers, like, that's super important. You either sell something very, very expensive, or uh, to you sell reoccurring things. So the person will need 1 week for now the thing, or 1 month from now will need the same thing because they finished it. Like I'm doing with the coffee, with the chocolate. I'm gonna need one every day. Another beautiful night is upon us. I went out to drink 3 non-alcoholic beers. Yay! It was amazing. I had an amazing debate with a friend of mine, and it was interesting. We were debating if humans are machines or they are not machines. And he was saying that humans are machines. And he was doing this by reducing humans to the circle that is the definition of a machine. And I was like, no, they are not, because of the inability of the human being to recreate a human without taking another piece of DNA from another person. So, through cloning, which is not really making from scratch, from raw materials. You are not extracting raw materials. Like, the raw materials are not really, DNA is not really the material, the raw material. It's actually a piece of the same machine that you want to recreate. So the iron, for instance, is not the same machine as a engine. So that was one of the arguments that I postulated. But I had, I think, 3 or 4 arguments, and at some point he was like, he wasn't like exhausted at all. He actually won like, yeah, I'm not. It hurt him a bit, but he accepted that I had the better arguments and I was on the right side of the debate over there. Another idea was just because we can. Another argument that I had was just because we can recreate the motions, like the big motion of this finger or the hand, you can recreate it with machines and have a machine do the exact same thing. It is infinitesimally less complex than what happens over here, because the folds of the skin, the fact that this machine is able to grow nails and hair and repair itself if you have a bruise, and like, no. You definitely, like, it's you cannot recreate in that certain case sure, you can recreate the effect of the finger, like this thing, but you can't recreate the whole machine. Like, the hand is not just the big motion, it's also the folds of the skin, the materials that it's made of have different properties, the sensors, I can sense the touch and the wind and everything else. So it's just so much more complex than just the motion, the mechanical motion. Sure, we have things that resemble mechanical objects and machines, but we are not machines ourselves. And sure, the arguments went all over the place. It was interesting. And before I started arguing, well, debating, not arguing, debating, I told him, like, look, there are 3 categories of arguments that you can have on this subject that he can put forth. And one of them, he said, no, 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 I'm not going to even touch that. That's ridiculous. And by the end of it, he got rid of the 2 best options. He saw that that road leads to nowhere, and he tried the last, the one that he said, I'm not going to touch that. That's ridiculous. That's a faulty argument by itself. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but you don't see that the other 2 are faulty as well. And yeah, it was nice. It wasn't nice because I was right. It was nice. The whole discussion was nice because I was ready to be proven wrong, but like, the things that I know are pointing that I was right. And it turns out that against him I was. But I might not know enough to, or he might not know enough to prove me wrong. So, yeah. But it was nice. Like, he really can debate, as in, he doesn't get emotionally invested like most people that I debate. They get too emotionally invested and they get too, like, so focused on winning that they don't see your arguments. They only look for a way to slip and win advantages. But he tries to do certain things that are not really allowed, but I'm sharp enough to tell him, like, look, you moved the goalpost. Like, 3 minutes into the debate, he moved the goalpost. He said humans are machines. And then when he saw the beginning of my argument, well, not an argument, but a counter argument, because I haven't given any arguments of what I believe 40 minutes into the discussion. everything was just counter arguments from me, countering the things that he said. And 3 minutes in, like, no, not even 3 minutes, like 1 minute in, when I started talking a bit, he was like taking it back, being like, whoops, I did an oopsie here. Not, I didn't say the human, it's the human body. And I was like, okay, but that's not true as well. And turns out, kind of right. Well, definitely for my for the in this conversation. But it was interesting because like it sparked some really good conversations. And also the most interesting part was that I talked with him about a video that I want to make about how, sure, IQ is not, you cannot increase your IQ, not directly, not by thinking, not by, you don't increase your IQ. We've proven that it's almost impossible and really statistically irrelevant, the improvements that we can make. In fact, we are actually losing IQ points as we age. And the interesting thing that I was, well, this was at the end, but he's a programmer and a very, very good one. He's a software engineer. Well, no, software architect. Big brains. And I told him, like, sure, you can't increase if we accept, like, I told him, like, look, it's interesting. I use the arguments that you use as well. Like, I talk about the human brain sometimes as if it's a computer, but I'm very specific when I say that it's like a computer with the small little addendum or whatever it's called, that it's not like a computer. We can gain a lot by thinking that it's a computer, but we shouldn't make the assumption that it acts like a computer. It's not. It, at some point, that argument is flawed. So I was telling him that the most interesting thing that is happening right now in computers are some things that are called ASIC, um, application specific integrated circuit. And I was telling him that imagine that those things, imagine that you can, like, look, your brain is the whole computer and you can't change it in the sense that you can increase its capacities, but you can build these ASICs, these application specific integrated circuit, like basically take any task that you are doing and do it a lot, just thousands of times, and you will become, you will get to experience something which is going beyond what your brain was capable of just a few months ago. And that's how I feel right now. I've always been good at cognition and arguments and constructing ideas. But because of the 500 videos that I filmed and posted, I've unlocked this specific chip in my brain. Because I was telling him, like, it's a highway. Like right now it's a highway, and I increased the limit of the speed limit of that highway by going and doing this activity over and over and over again. And that's exactly how I feel right now. I've unlocked this ability to create an argument, and not only create ideas and arguments, but prevent, like, pitfalls from happening in my own arguments and seeing the pitfalls that other people have in their ideas whenever they say them. I look like I did something very interesting where I actually, in the middle of the debate, that's what I mean when I can see the pitfalls. First of all, I saw all the main three categories of arguments that he could have. I didn't predict them all, but I predicted three of them. He actually found another one, which was interesting. But I predicted three of them, like one, two, three, and that's exactly what he did. He did all of those three before he even started argumenting for his idea, for his position. And I predicted another thing where I constructed an argument just so I block him into this narrow idea of his argument. Like, I predicted that if I give him a flawed argument, even though it's not really correct, and I told him, like, you fell for my trap. I set up a trap for him so that he will get an idea that I wanted and I needed as Clay, and his position on it would be so skewed because of the argument of my argument. He would have to put his position so skewed that I can do then another argument to win the debate itself. That was like, it had a very small chance of working, but it worked. So that was super interesting. So that's it for tonight. I feel amazing. I met with the two friends. I worked. I didn't consume any social media. I'm gonna transfer this file and then edit and then feed Sophie and go out with her for a long walk while the videos are rendering. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow.